If you've seen the Oscar-winning movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, then you already know that you can effectively tell a deep and complicated story that shows you everything and takes you everywhere, all in just a couple of hours. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said about Cions of Vega, a painfully slow-paced adventure game that spends 2 hours saying nothing and going nowhere, both at the same time. And if this guy right here will let me get by him, I'll explain why this all-too-brief adventure squanders what could have been an interesting story. No, seriously, let me get by. What's wrong with you? This is the story of Kenny, a desperate father who will stop at nothing to track down the whereabouts of his missing daughter, Layla. He's joined by his brother Logan, who agrees to help him look for clues in and around the forest, which includes a whole bunch of creepy houses that seem to be abandoned for no reason. Over the course of a couple of hours, the two men reconnect and learn some terrifying news about the children of this out-of-the-way village that forces our hero to make a choice that he's never gonna forget. Cions of Vega is a first-person, story-driven adventure game, or as some disparagingly call it, a walking simulator. It's a game designed to recreate that frantic feeling of losing a child and then slowly walking through the forest to find them. It's the kind of game that is deliberately paced, hooking you with the setup and then slowly revealing new information as you journey down the linear path. In the case of this game, the path takes you to a bunch of houses with a series of extremely easy puzzles to solve. The goal is to find the key that opens up the gate and a letter that will reveal the next piece of the story. In order to do that, you'll need to go on a bunch of fetch quests or use your brain to open up a lock. For example, the electricity is off in one of the houses, so you'll need to find a shovel in order to dig up the fuse to turn the power back on. Obviously. That's the kind of boneheaded puzzle that you can expect while playing Cions of Vega. You're never more than a few feet away from the solution, and the game will hold your hand right up until it's absolutely clear what you need to do to solve the puzzle. But you know what? I actually appreciate the effort of including puzzles in the first place. So many of these types of games seem to think that they can just coast on a compelling storyline. I also appreciate that Logan is along for the ride. There's some obvious animosity between the siblings, and their brief interactions help to fill in a lot of the backstory. I like that we aren't just reading about Kenny's journey to find his daughter, but rather we have somebody there to keep us company and point us in the right direction. Honestly, I wish there was a lot more dialogue between these two. This is the kind of game that would have benefited from having a lot more dialogue. As annoying as it may sound, I would have preferred hearing these two bicker and fight the whole way there. As it is, Logan will leave a comment here and there, but most of the time the brothers are walking through the forest in complete silence. It's kind of disconcerting. As a setup, Cions of Vega is certainly compelling. Right from the jump, I was ready and excited to find Kenny's missing daughter. However, the more that got revealed, the less interesting I found the adventure. Look, I'm not going to spoil the big plot twist here, but it's dumb. It's also blatantly obvious after you run into the first couple of children, all of which seem to be missing parents for some reason. And just to hammer home the stupid reveal, you'll need to experience it 3 times in order to see all of the terrible endings. Or, don't, because you're just going to be disappointed no matter what you choose. Beyond the storytelling issues, Cions of Vega also comes up short from a technical perspective. I played through the game on PlayStation 5, a system with more than enough power to handle a game like this. Yet, objects in the room would pop in and out of existence when standing mere feet away from them. There were also times when I literally couldn't advance the story because Logan was standing in the way and not letting me pass. It's important to note that you can't command the computer-controlled characters to move, so if he stands in your way, the only solution is to restart from the last checkpoint. And you know what? That sucks. Speaking of things that suck, it's probably worth mentioning that Cions of Vega was made by the same developer who gave us the Redress of Mira, a similar first-person narrative game that I reviewed last month. While far from perfect, this game actually does address a number of the problems that I had with their last outing, which, if I'm being positive, gives me a glimmer of hope. I mean, I can't recommend Cions of Vega, but I'm holding out hope that it's only a matter of time before this developer figures out how to make a great game. Or, at the very least, one that doesn't leave me rolling my eyes. Cions of Vega is never more compelling than it is in its opening minutes when you're introduced to a father's journey to save his missing daughter. Unfortunately, everything after that is a big disappointment, with ugly graphics, poorly written dialogue, and boneheaded puzzles that are never challenging. Doesn't help that the story's climax is embarrassing, leaving you with 3 terrible endings that you will immediately forget. Toss in some frustrating technical imperfections and you have a first-person adventure that'll leave you bored and annoyed. Cions of Vega is a 15-minute game stretched to fit 2 hours of walking through an empty forest. Pass. Hey, thanks for watching our review. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new reviews and features almost every day. Now, here's the question I have for you. What is your favorite video game mystery? It can be a mystery that's at the center of a video game, or maybe it's a mystery that's surrounding the gaming industry. You decide. It's a wide open question, so I can't wait to see what you come up with in the comments below. In other news, we'll be back later this week with more reviews and more classic magazine crap. If that sounds good to you, then I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.